Rock 100.5 KATT. It's Cameron Buchholtz here with comedian Gianmarco Soresi. What's going on, man?
I'm good. How are you? I mean, I moved to Los Angeles about 1 week ago from New
Okay,
York City,
that was
so
good
it's been
timing.
great timing. I was not expecting such a warm welcome,
Yeah,
but I'm here, and yeah, that's where I'm calling you from.
gotcha. But you're nowhere near the fires and whatnot, I hope.
No, not right now. See, it's I've been okay. I'm very lucky.
Gotcha. Now, what kind of spurred the move from New York to LA?
Oh, it's showbiz is still here.
Sure,
It's spread out here and there, but like when you're here, you run into the Steven Spielbergs on the street, and
sure.
I think that's the only way to get those little two-line parts they throw to stand-up comedians every once in a while, and that's what I'm going for. So I'm going to be in New York still. I'm going to be bi-coastal. We'll
Gotcha.
see.
Gotcha, man. Well, you're going to be here in Oklahoma City this Thursday night at the Bricktown Comedy Club. And I'm assuming it's
Hmm.
your first time performing here in OKC, right?
Well, I actually performed when I first started headlining at a now dead comedy club called Looney Bin
Sure.
that was in
Yeah.
Oklahoma City, and this feels like a step in the right direction, if you know what I mean. No offense
Okay.
to that
Yeah.
that club, but I think I landed on a Wednesday, and they said, "Hey, just so you know, tonight's your headlining show. It's also open mic night, so
Hmm.
there's going to be 8 comedians ahead of you." And I said, "Oh my God!"
Yeah.
Uh, so I'm very excited to be at the Oklahoma City Comedy Club for sure.
Yeah. It's a no open mic on Thursday.
Yes, thank God.
But now looking at your tour dates, you're doing a lot of comedy clubs, but you're also doing, some theaters and some rock clubs and kind of a mix of stuff.
Yeah, I will go wherever someone will have me if I can get enough people in the seats. That is, I like to explore different venues. It's the same reason I like to perform in different parts of the country. I think it fine tunes you as a performer. You get to find new ways to tell jokes, depending on what the layout is. So yeah, I'll perform in a box if someone will book me for it.
Gotcha, man. Well, how have the recent shows been going? Because I know your profile is kind of steadily climbing. I think.
Listen. I got in this show, So yeah,
Sure.
I'm actually filming a special in February, here in Los Angeles. That's one of the reasons I moved here temporarily, and I have been working this kind of hour 10 minute set really hard. Normally, since I like to go out there, I kind of bounce around, do some old stuff, do some new stuff. But for the first time in my 10-year comedy career, I am focusing all my energy on fine tuning the best kind of headlining set I got. So what's cool about doing one show when I'm there is like I get to do that set. I get to show kind of my best foot forward. And then, because there's nothing after me, I
Mhm.
can screw around a little bit, talk to the audience, mention some, I'm sure I'll think of some Oklahoma jokes once I get there. And it'll be a real full, kind of a full evening. So I'm
Okay.
excited.
And so I assume then that if you're recording it in a month, that the hour is pretty well where you want it to be, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm a neurotic guy, so there's always things that could be better. I think there was some famous director who said like he said a film is never finished, but you just have to complete, you have to publish it at some point. That's how it
Mm,
feels with comedy. So listen, it's still fine tuning, but it's in good shape. It's I'm very proud of this hour, and I think people will like it.
nice. And where are you recording it in LA?
So, I had to look over whatever theaters remained after the
Hmm.
fire, and luckily, there's a theater called the Elysian in Los Angeles, and it's kind of like I'm a theater kid. I make no secret of it. I don't think I
Hmm.
could if I tried. And we're basically kind of styling this kind of little theater as if it's like an off Broadway theater or a regional theater in between shows, and I just happen to nab it for one day. So it's like it's going to feel like intimate. The audience kind of surrounds me, and it's going to be cool. I think a lot of comedians they want to do that big theater show, and I think sometimes it can create a distance between you and the audience. And I really want to feel close. That's how I like to do shows.
Well,
So
I think
yeah.
sometimes it's weird when comedians do their specials. It's like, well, they're ordinarily in bars and comedy clubs. So then why is the special in the big giant theater? Like it seems a little,
It's
unnatural in a way.
vain. It's an
Yeah.
act of vanity. I think sometimes it's kind of like proof. Like, look how many people I tricked to watching me
Mm,
talk on stage for an hour. And I think comedy. When I think of the best shows of my life, they're rarely the biggest venues I've ever performed at. It's
mm,
it's the ones where it just felt like everyone in the audience was on the same page. Shows where I could at some point kind of check in with each audience member to make sure they were having a good time. That's when
mm.
it feels like a cohesive event.
Yeah. And comedy, it's best with low ceilings and
Yes, yes. I always say if it's a fire hazard, it's going to be a good show.
Gotcha.
Unfortunately, that's they kind of go hand in hand.
And now your last special that you did, you basically did it. I think it was pretty well during the pandemic, right? I know I've seen clips of it, and it's
Yeah.
everyone's in masks and whatnot. So this will have a very different vibe.
Yes, very different vibes. So that special I did. I was in New York City for 2020, which was a rough place to be. I wish I'd been in Los Angeles then. But people were doing all these outdoor shows. It was a
Mm,
real saving grace for comedians. We were in Central Park, and I filmed my first kind of sort of, I think it was like 40 minutes. We found an outdoor space. We had a lot of COVID rules. We were only allowed to have 25 people there, socially distanced. We sat people in pods. That 25 people included the camera people. That wasn't like,
mm.
so we had an audience of 20. And we did two tapings. I think it rained during the second taping.
Yeah.
It was nuts. So as far as I'm concerned, if I have a special where not the majority of people are wearing masks,
Mhm.
it's gonna be a lot more lively.
Sure. And now, so you stayed in New York. You didn't want to be one of the comics that retreated down to Austin, like most people seem to do.
Yeah, comedy. The thing with comedy is, unlike music, we don't really talk enough about like genres of comedy. And
Mm,
I think the Austin comic and the kind of comic that I am is a little bit different. And listen, I don't mind getting in those weeds,
sure.
but that's its own thing. I am of the New York school of thought, and I think one of the reasons it's just New York is the hub of really strong stand-up comics. We have a healthy comedy club scene where you are competing with some real killers, and that just forces you to sharpen your own material. We're like, in Austin, if Joe Rogan's
Mm,
before you, you don't have to work that hard to do better than him.
sure.
So that's why I like New York.
Gotcha. And now, what's your impression of the LA comedy scene?
I've talked a lot of smack about the LA comedy scene, as I should. I'm a New York
Mhm,
comic. I think here's the bottom line: is that people in LA, stand-up comedy is rarely the priority.
mhm,
And listen, I understand. We'll see when I get a TV show. Maybe that's the time to stop seeing me do stand-up comedy. The people in LA,
mhm,
they're trying to get a TV show, they're trying to get a talk show, they're trying to get a modeling career, they're trying to get some commercials. They're doing 3 shows a week.
mhm,
Now, when you're in New York and you're really up and coming, you can do 4 shows a day,
mhm.
every day a week if you really want it. So that's the difference.
Yeah,
So without disparaging them, I would simply say, who would you rather see, the athlete who trains 3 hours a day, or the one that kind of practices 30 minutes a week while they're on the phone with Steven Spielberg's third assistant?
yeah.
I'll leave
Mhm.
it to the audience to make their
Sure.
pick.
Yeah, I mean, I think New York is where comics go to get funny, and LA is where comics go to try to get famous. And,
Sure,
and those
sure. I
aren't
think
those
there's
aren't the same thing.
not at all. Matthew Broussard, a very good comedian, he said, New York is where you go if you want to get better at comedy. LA is where you go if you want to get worse at comedy. He just made it as simple as that.
Gotcha, man. Well, yeah, thanks for talking to me, and everybody, go to Bricktown Comedy Club on Thursday nights, and I think it's bricktowncomedy.com is where they can go buy your tickets and that sort of thing. And are you bringing an opener, or is the club just
I'm sorry. As I said, I'm underneath an airport, so
yeah,
forgive me for the airline. But I will be bringing one of my openers, Liam Nelson, an Atlanta comic who moved to New York City. He's most notably he's 7 feet tall,
okay.
and I want people to know I am quite tall myself. But when I follow Liam, it does not seem that way. But he's a great comic, a lot of great jokes, and he's been opening for me for almost 2 years now. So we have a good rhythm going.
Nice, man. Yeah, stoked for the show. Bricktown Comedy Club this Thursday night, Bricktown Comedy. And yeah, thanks, man.